I'm Larry Farver, and let's queer up politics. Anti-trans politician Nancy Mace falls to fourth place in South Carolina GOP governor poll. A new survey released by the Trafalgar Group shows that Republican Congresswoman Nancy Mace is polling in fourth place in South Carolina's crowded Republican primary race for governor. The poll of 1,089 likely Republican primary voters conducted between May 2nd and the 5th shows South Carolina Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette leading with over 25% support. State Attorney General Alan Wilson follows at a little over 23%, while Congressman Ralph Norman received 19.6%, and Mace drew only 15.2% support in the six-way race. The polling results come as Mace faces growing scrutiny over her political conduct and recent controversies. Earlier this month, the House Ethics Committee opened an investigation into allegations that she improperly overcharged nearly $9,000 to a congressional housing subsidy program. Mace has denied wrongdoing and claimed the probe is politically motivated. Mace has also drawn national attention for her repeated anti-transgender rhetoric and policies. Last year, she publicly described herself as, quote, proud transphobe, end quote, and has frequently used language spreading hatred towards the LGBT community. During her time in Congress, Mace has supported restrictions targeting transgender Americans, including backing a capital restroom policy affecting transgender people and opposing legislation that included protections for transgender inmates under the Violence Against Women Act. Well, she deserves what she gets. Karma's out there. I have to say that anyone who is a representative and is elected, in my book, has to represent all the people. She might not personally identify with transgender or LGBTQ plus people, but it's her responsibility, and to publicly speak out against them is just, she's going in the wrong direction. She should not. She's in politics for all the wrong reasons, like a lot of people who are currently elected in her administration.
She's an interesting case study. She's a woman, I don't have her whole biography in front of me, but from what I do remember about her, she might have gone to West Point or one of these historically male-dominated military schools, and she got through there. And she's just one of those people where she has really hardened in her hatred. Very similar to like a J.K. Rowling kind of a person. She's anti-trans. One of her constituents was I believe a gay man came up to her in Target in the makeup aisle, and he was wearing shorts, and she started, and he confronted her, and he said something like, why are you doing what you're doing? She recorded him and then went on a tirade about how he was like a woman wearing little shorty shorts and trying to disparage what he was wearing and that he was a freak, and, just like all these horrible pejoratives. And she's also the kind of person where she turns everything to the subject of sex, sexuality, men, women, the binary, like everything. She has like a very one-track mind, and I want to give her a little grace, although maybe some viewers might say, what the heck's wrong with this guy sitting at the table? Get him off. But I actually feel like, if her story is true, which I have no reason not to believe it, she is the victim of an assault. And I think that, maybe there's a psychologist out there watching, and, you can chime in on the comments section. I think when you have a traumatic experience, you kind of have some responses to things that maybe don't look normal or typical on the outside, but are very coherent to you on the inside. If I'm making sense, I hope I'm making sense. So I don't want to excuse what this horrible, wretched woman does and says and who she is and who she's being. I also want to say that I think that there is some mental health instability there.
And you bring up a good point. I really think it's critical now, no matter what party people are in, to really look at who's running with the elections coming up in November. Think about who we have in office, going up to the top, and trickling down, look at people like Ms. Mace and, step back and say, is she really representing everyone? Where are her interests? You could also say, is she hinged or unhinged?
Well, I think her interest should be getting well. Get well, Nancy, because your presence is like being maced in the face.
Yeah,
no pun intended.
And not getting off the story, but we, without mentioning names right now, but we have a local former congresswoman who misappropriated money, and there was some other
things. She wants to run again.
Yeah, so you have to look at that and say, this woman may be denying in South Carolina that she had a misappropriation of funds, but I'm sure there's a lot more to this individual that we won't cover now, but probably be revealed in the next couple of years.
She's definitely somebody that they're going to make a TV miniseries or something's going to,
with the popcorn, right?
With this woman, because she's just such a train wreck, and she's so vehemently nasty to people. The way she, because she's former, I believe she's former military. And so the way she approaches people is with this certain kind of fire, and she's just very in your face, very aggressive. I believe that there were some transgendered flags, flying outside of some congressional offices, and she made a special point of harassing people or doing something. I don't want to misspeak too much. I mean, sometimes I might, but I want to say that she definitely harassed people with flags at the Capitol, and she just doesn't have anything better to do. I think she's found her red meat, and I think that, coupled with her obvious mental health challenges, I think it's like a wildfire in that brain of hers, and I would definitely take a step back, which the voters are doing, because she's not polling very well.
Yeah, well, let's hope they vote. They all vote out in South Carolina.
And it looks that way.
Absolutely.
Looks that way.
Well, there's no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories, sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.